I like how yours is just like at the end, like, meh.
Yeah, like it's his favorite movie franchise. I'll let him lead. I'll do the backups.
Dude, I'll just have to say this bright and fucking early in the show. Jurassic World was fucking awesome.
No need to bury the lead now. Yeah.
No, dude, I buried it, dude. I'm burying it like I'm burying an oil pipe down. We're sending it all the way back home. No, dude.
I'm gonna tell you, I can't think of anything to talk about other than the movie. We already recorded another episode earlier this week, so I'm just kind of like, well, fuck it. I don't know if we got anything else, but I can talk about that movie that we just saw. So yeah, let's do that. Let's just jump in balls first.
Starting from the very beginning, this is what I was really glad I finally saw a Terminator 5 trailer in the theater. Everything I've seen prior to this, I haven't seen a Terminator 5 trailer yet.
I still haven't seen one in the theater.
Really? You didn't see one of Jurassic World? I finally saw one, then I was like, fine. I mean, I've seen them all online, but it was just like, I'm like, dude, I want to see this in the theater. It's like, and they didn't play it in San Andreas. They didn't play it on Avengers 2. They didn't play it on Fast and the Furious. They didn't play it on Mad Max, which I thought was kind of weird. I thought that would have been the perfect movie to play when.
Plus, it's Warner Brothers too, isn't this Terminator Warner Brothers?
I want to say it is.
Yeah, but no, I didn't get that. I got like the new Robert Zemeckis movie.
I got the second trailer of that one, and it made it look a lot more interesting than the first one. The first one's just like the man on. What's the thing called? Man on the Wire, and it's just yeah. I remember that story where the guy walked across Twin Towers on a tightrope. And the first time I'm like, when they first saw that trailer, I was like, you could find 2 hours to write about this. I'm assuming this guy probably did a bunch of interesting stuff other than this, because obviously that's like the pinnacle of your interesting things you do. It's not like the guy just kind of sat around like, I had a really boring life, worked a boring job. Well, actually, who knows? He could have had like a Fight Club, like fucking. He woke up one day as like, my life fucking sucks. I gotta walk across the Twin Towers.
I gotta fucking prove something, man. No. Like, I mean, that's movie. I mean, I like Zemeckis and all. It still doesn't really jump out at me so much. I mean, maybe I'll see it. We'll see what happens.
I will say this though. Here, at least Zemeckis has kind of come back from fucking CG land, because there was a whole 10 years where he never left there. Him and Brendan Fraser got sucked into the vortex together.
Brendan Fraser's still there.
Yeah, because Robert Zemeckis finally escaped, and Brendan's like, "You go on without me. Carry on. Me and the Bears will be fine here.
We'll just be dancing."
Dancing. That's all I got.
Dude,
Brendan puts his hand up on the screen, and a slight tear comes down.
Zemeckis looks over.
When you get out to that world, you turn that TV off and let me be.
Don't think about me. Just move on with your life. Forget me. He just sees a poster. He just sees a poster for like, what was it, like Furry Vengeance or whatever, where he was dancing with the bear or whatever. And just a single tear builds up in the corner of Zemeckis' eye. He has to like just pull the poster down.
The thing about Brendan Fraser too is like he's one of my favorite actors from like the 90s, but then after like the about early 2000s, pretty much after about Mummy, that's about the best way I can describe it. That's like his foray into CG land, and he just never came back.
He's like
I don't know. I mean, maybe some of those movies are good. I'm not talking about Furry Vengeance, but some of those other movies might be decent. But
even like Rock took a trip to CG land. He went to like. Well, there's Journey to the Center of the Earth, which, I mean, when I first heard
had Brendan.
Which I was looking forward to that for a second, then I saw the trailer. I'm like, oh, it's one of these kind of movies. It's like it's like taking old, cool concepts of, like an old sci-fi book, and then just making it all wacky and goofy. And then I was like, oh, fuck that. And then I think it's kind of like It's not. I don't think it's in the same original series, but they took the other one, like the Mystic Island or whatever, Shambhala or something, and The Rock was in that, and even that still looked kind of like, even with The Rock, it still looked kind of kiddie and silly. So I was like, no. That is quite the trade up, though. Too. That is quite the trade up, though. Just going from like, yeah, I have Brendan Fraser, now I got the fucking Rock.
Yeah, well, you know, it sounds weird though, but Brendan Fraser always remind me is like he sort of could be. He can be an action star a lot, and he's kind of like he's like a Brad Pitt, but he's sort of like your goofy Brad Pitt, I guess. That's like the best way to describe it. Because he's like a pretty boy and an action star, but he also has like just that kind of goofy comedic edge to him more than other actors do.
They should have teamed up.
Not like Brad Pitt can't be funny, because Brad Pitt says some of the funniest things, but first and foremost, he comes across serious.
Well, he says some of the funniest shit in like Fury and Inglourious Bastards. So yeah, I think Aldo Ray is one of Quentin Tarantino's best characters. Too bad he just didn't utilize him a little more. But
and then he said he has one of my favorite Brad Pitt lines in fucking California, and I don't think it's supposed to be like a comedic line, but where he just goes like, "Stinky bitch."
He's not telling Julia Lewis like
it was like the closest thing. I don't think he says Julia Lewis. I think he says to some other.
No, he says the part like, "You put that titty away, goddamn."
Yeah, I think that's a different scene though. Yeah, I think the part where he goes, "Thank you, bitch." It was just like it sounds so much like Drunk Batman. Or Snatch. There's another perfect example of great comedy of Brad Pitt.
I kind of forget he's in that movie. I mean, I love that movie and he's fantastic in it, but I really forget that Brad Pitt's in that movie. I kind of forget that's him.
And it's funny because they put him front and center on the DVD cover for the U.S. They're like, look, you know him. He's yours. Buy it.
Now they could sell it on not Brendan Fraser, fucking Jason. He's not even in the fucking movie. We're just gonna throw him on the cover. No,
yeah, Jason's just in the back. He's like, I'm in the back here. Yeah. I'm Jason Statham. I haven't done the transporter yet, so none of you blokes know who I am.
A few of you might know him from Ghost of Mars or Jet Li's sidekick in The One.
You know, speaking of transporter, I've seen that transporter trailer a couple times, that new one, and it's like, to me, I'm like,
that.
What's this one? I'm looking like, dude, transporter came out like maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little bit. Well, I guess a little bit more than that by now. What's it, 2001 or 2 or 3 even?
Yeah, well, no, it was like 2002, maybe 2003. Something like that.
But, okay, I mean, like, they had, like, a transporter TV show. Now, that's different. It's TV. It's a different world.
I didn't know they had a TV show. They had a TV show?
Yeah, I think it's on, like, season 2 or 3 or something.
Is this the guy from the TV show?
I don't know if that's the case. I don't think so.
If that's the case, then that makes sense. If it's just another guy, though, as if they're trying to...
Reboot.
I had no idea that no idea they had a transporter TV show. But if this is the guy from that would make sense.
Yeah. But I don't think it is. It's just one of those ones that's just like that. It's like, do you really need to remake that? I mean, like, I'm all down for continue if it was like Transporter 4 and it didn't, even if it didn't have Jason Statham, even though that's kind of the main reason we're there. Continue the franchise, but don't have to reboot fucking crap. But
I like it on the first one. Second one was it was all right. The third one, okay. Third one I never cared to see because it looked too silly.
Yeah, that first one though is freaking amazing, or pretty darn sweet.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie.
Like I enjoy it. It's got some sweet fight scenes, some sweet driving scenes in it. But back to our big movie. I don't think there's any other sweet trailers I saw. I'm trying to think.
I saw finally saw on the big screen the second trailer to Star Wars and whatnot. But
you guys see that? That's something I don't think I've seen on the big screen yet. Is Star Wars, because they play with Avengers. I don't think I saw one then.
I saw it at Avengers, yeah, but that I think I saw the first one at Avengers for whatever reason, because I saw Avengers at a smaller cinema, so I saw the first one at Avengers, because I guess they just grab whatever trailers they can and throw it in front of it. But when I went to go see Jurassic Park, that's where I saw Star Wars.
Huh? I don't think I saw that. Oh, even though I saw this actually earlier, but there's that Matt Damon in space movie where he goes to Mars.
I should care because there's a lot of actors I like in it. It has Matt Damon, Donald Glover, what's her name, Jessica Chastain. It has a bunch of actors I really like, and it's Ridley Scott doing sci-fi. It doesn't grab me. I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, it's because it's kind of more of a realistic space movie. It's like maybe if you threw in a fucking Martian Manhunter in there at some point.
But Matt Damon is Martian Manhunter. He is John Jones.
It was like the other day I turned on, I was looking at some of the just our YouTube videos, and then all of a sudden I saw that popped up and like something you might like. I click on it and I go, oh, that's a sweet trailer. And then I looked down at the views and it was like I was like number 58. And I was like, what the fuck? And it was like right off of Fox movie, trailers, official one. I'm like the 58th person that's seen this in the public eye. That trailer.
That kind of happens.
Because most of the time, you click on a trailer and it's already at like a million views and you're like, oh, and this is like day 2. I literally saw that trailer like in the first like 2 minutes it was put up.
I've seen that with like John Sean and Game Grumps videos because those guys are huge. So I've been like number like 30 on that, and like I'm someone who's special, for a split second. But you're like, that doesn't really fucking matter.
That's good. There's always those people on there that get to be our first.
Yeah. Well, I'm just grateful for like the 1 or 2 because I know we got like listeners on Podomatic and whatnot, but when we get like when I see there's a lot of listeners on the YouTube feed, that's where I'm like, oh wow, you know what I mean? But it's usually like Podomatic. It's like, okay, that's pretty. I'm grateful for like everybody who listens, but I'm just a little bit more shocked when I see there's a lot of views on the YouTube one because I don't think many people go on YouTube looking for podcasts,
No, I don't think so either. I think because I've seen Nerdist podcast, and I've seen some of our episodes have more views than theirs.
Oh wow! Well,
it's really weird. Like the Pauly Shore one had, I might have more by now, but it had like only about like 1,000 like views, and I was like, poor Pauly Shore. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. There is the Nerdist episodes that got like a ton of views, but some of those side episodes, I know they don't always have the highest views on them, and I was kind of surprised there.
I know we made jokes about him, but I mean, I'm just going over what I think I've heard. I think he's directing and producing now. I haven't listened to that episode, but I think he's just
That was a really good episode, but I mean, I listened to it because Pauly Shore.
He's your boy. That's your boy.
He is, dude. Son-in-Law is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Wes once called that the Casablanca of Pauly Shore films.
Dude, it's one of those movies like it's goofy, but like I love it. It's what I call a movie. I can always throw it on, no matter what. I've seen it like over 100+ times, but I can always throw it on like just that feel-good movie. I got a handful of movies that are like that. It's like that movie, Captain Ron with Kurt Russell. There's more, but those are the ones that just jumped off the top of my head. Jurassic Park.
That's one. Yeah, for me, I got a lot of movies that are kind of like sad and depressing that have that, like In Bruges, even though that's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. It's
also super
It's a
dramatic.
very dark, bleak movie, but so it has some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. I can't help but think of it as a comedy. Departed, that's one of my favorite movies of all time right there, and that's kind of like, for whatever reason, like that movie makes me feel good. Like, oh yeah, like he just like shooting people in the head left and right, execution style. Yeah, it's a good movie. Just makes you feel good. Don't know why, but yeah, I think it's just I think it's just the dialogue, and I don't know, I think that's one of the movies where the writing and the acting just kind of just mesh perfectly together. It's not visually amazing. It's just, I think, the timing and the dialogue of that movie.
No, that is a really good one. I've only seen that one about like 4 times, but I like it every single time
I've seen it. Ever since I got Netflix streaming, I've watched, it's a 3-hour movie, so it says a lot. I've watched Wolf of Wall Street 5 times already, so.
Oh, really? You've seen it that many? I've had it on Blu-ray since it came out. I think I've only seen it twice. Well, once in the theater, but twice on Blu-ray. But that is a good one. That is a movie you could almost just throw on and just like watch.
I'll usually, it's kind of like, I feel kind of bad. It sounds like such a fucking Republican thing right here. But I got like this screen, this one monitor I don't really use so much since I got like a Wacom tablet. So I have it positioned away. It's really reflective. And I could actually, it wasn't meant to be this way, but it's just kind of reflected to my TV. So now what I can almost do when I'm working on, it's so fucking lazy and bad, but if I'm working on like drawings or something, I'll have to
turn the monitor off.
I'll have this monitor off. I'll have my TV on behind me, have Netflix going. I'll be like drawing and looking up every so often at my monitor, which is reflected from the TV. As interesting as that is, but yeah, I can't help but feel kind of like, God, this is like such a fucking like. It's one of those things like where you feel kind of like. I don't know why. I just get I get a guilty conscience about that kind of shit, knowing what's going on in the world, and you're like, yeah, so I got this monitor I don't really even need anymore, but I'm going to use it because it's basically my TV mirror.
Some people in countries would love to have a mirror. I use a fucking $500 monitor as a mirror.
Exactly. I mean, I'll still use this thing eventually, but right now I haven't had much use for it, so because I primarily use this tablet. But I mean, it's there. So I mean, I'll find something for it. I will use. I'm not gonna let this thing be reduced down to just a mirror. So yeah, it will find a place again.
But yeah, going to Jurassic World, just such an amazing movie. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's as nearly as good as the first one because you can't capture that kind of magic. That magic only happens once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
There's just some of those movies that no matter how hard you try, you can make great sequels, but you'll just never be able to hit that plateau.
Mm-hmm.
Or pinnacle, I guess. Plateau would be like flattened out at some point.
I mean, I knew what you meant. So like, yeah, he maybe knows something I don't. Yeah, okay.
Plateau's when you get to a point where you're like, fuck, I wish I could get better, but I'm stuck here. Damn it. And Pinnacle's like, oh, I finally reached the top of Everest. Now time to kill myself.
Yeah. Is that how every Everest story ends? We should probably stop right there.
Probably because a lot of guys look down and go, fuck, now I got to go back down.
We should probably stop right there because that's where we usually just go like, oh, you know, I heard this one story about Everest. People like, just fucking
Everest. Yeah, this guy was like,
just fucking talk about Jurassic Park because we get sidetracked.
Yeah, let's go to Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I saw it last night. I couldn't find anybody to go because everybody was watching the Warriors game and all that, and I didn't get off till a little later. So
the Warriors game.
The Warriors, you know, so. I don't really
give that team that there's only like a small percentage of people that care about that team, and that's just right there in the Bay Area.
Everybody loves them now that they're in the fucking playoffs, and they're it's like it's I think they're 2-2 now, and I'll stop there because I know this is where it leads into another segue where I shit on sports instead of talk about Jurassic Park. So
So you did something productive instead of watch sports.
Yeah, instead of doing something physically, instead of doing something like physical.
There's nothing physical in watching sports. There's only physicalness if you play sports.
There you go. Good point. So I just went and watched Jurassic Park. Figured I'd expand my mind a bit, and yeah, I liked it. It's one of those ones that I'll buy it when it comes out on Blu-ray. Definitely. It doesn't capture I don't know. I guess it's one of those things I really love Jurassic Park. It's not my favorite film series, but I always really liked it. I really love the first one. 2 and 3 are flawed, but they're still good movies. And I think this one, I mean, I gotta watch 2 and 3 again, but I want to say, don't hate me here, this might be my second favorite. Granted, I haven't seen 2 and 3 in a long time, but
you know, I could see this one being like an easy second favorite, because it kind of hits everything pretty darn well. You know, the action's all pretty good. There's not really too much annoying characters in it. There's characters that look like they could turn into being really annoying characters, but they might have a few lines, but overall they're not bad. I mean, because and the cool thing about it too is there's sort of that whole dream of you ever wonder what this park would look like if Jurassic Park started up and they actually got 20,000 people in there and they had attractions and so on? And they had fucking Margaritaville Jurassic World. Did you see that in there?
Yeah.
When the pterodactyls were coming down and attacking everybody, it was like fucking Margaritaville. It's like, he's fucking Jimmy Buffett.
You know, fucking Jimmy Buffett probably he just rolls in there later at night, hey guys, I'm sure he probably plays there 2 times a week. This is the gig I got. So how y'all doing? Remember this one? Cheeseburger. Shut the fuck up. Someone in the back.
It's pretty much it became Jimmy Buffett's Las Vegas. You know, we got Kiss in Las Vegas right now, and we had Elton John beforehand and stuff, and Carrot Top that's what we all were looking forward to in Las Vegas. Yeah. Well, Jimmy Buffett, he jumped on the bandwagon for the Jurassic World slot.
All he demanded was a beach bungalow and a Triceratops he could ride to his Margaritaville restaurant.
Apparently he got it somehow, some way. Jimmy Buffett. I don't know if he funded this movie slightly to get his name in there or what, but
maybe there's a deleted scene with him there. I don't know, trying to sue someone for uttering a word of one of his songs.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? But most of the characters are pretty good. 'Cause, I mean, I guess technically you're sort of main characters. I mean, Chris Pratt's kind of the main character, but it sort of starts off with those 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
The brothers who their parents are oh, we're gonna get a divorce, so you kids go to Jurassic World now and don't get eaten. Bye.
The whole thing with that, I'll say about regarding characters in Jurassic Park, the only one that I think really had it only had a handful of memorable. I mean, I love the first one, but when it gets down to it, it only really had a handful of memorable characters. The most of them were just kind of like you had Sam Neill, Dr. Grant, you had Malcolm, and then you had Jeff Goldblum, Malcolm, and then you had.
Well, the nice thing about that first Jurassic Park is just about every character is pretty darn memorable. Well, because you got.
I thought Muldoon, and then you had like Hammond, and then I think
you got Nedry.
Oh yeah, you had Nedry. That's right, you had Nedry. But I think nearly everybody.
You got Laura
else,
Dern.
I thought she was just kind of like, oh yeah, she's just sort of the girlfriend that kind of hangs out. And you had, she didn't really stick out to me a whole lot. Same, the kids were just kind of like the kids. So
the kids are supposed to be, they're supposed to just be the kids.
They're the kids, and then you had, I think Laura Dern was just kind of there.
Then you got Samuel Jackson.
That wasn't so much the writing. I think it was just Samuel Jackson, like, hold on to your butts. It was just Samuel Jackson. I think that's all it was.
Do you know what I was thinking of? I was like, you know what would have been fucking sick though in Jurassic? You know what would have made Jurassic World just like that much better? What if fucking they hide it in the movie, but Samuel Jackson's fucking in the movie and he's missing an arm because it never shows him die. It just shows his arm got torn off at some point.
He's been living out there in the jungle all these years.
well, maybe like he did. He got off the island and stuff, and now he's back at working at fucking Jurassic World or something. You know, I'm like, dude, that would have been a sweet thing. I know there probably would have been somebody like, well, he's supposed to die, but I was like, no, they don't show him die.
What if it just
don't even imply? I mean, like they show his arm got torn off. That's about it.
What if like later in like Jurassic Park, he just comes back and just like says like, you see that? He's like, I fucked up that raptor, man. He like holds up like the raptor's head that took his arm. Like he took my arm, but I took his fucking head.
I took his head.
Like fucking Happy Gilmore.
No. It's like a Happy Gilmore moment. Like he finally comes up to Hammond. He's like, remember that?
That's how Hammond died.
And he pulls it up. Oh, I got his head. And Hammond falls out the back of a window.
That's how Hammond died. It's like a giraffe. It's like a raptor head in the fucking suitcase.
But see, I was thinking like, dude, that would have been sweet. You know, I will say though, because like the only downfall I will say to Jurassic World, this is my only slight complaint, is other than Dr. Wu, which I think that's cool that he's in it, there's no cameos by any of the older characters.
You want to know who I thought Chris Pratt could have been, technically? Because I was just going to go on the next one.
Vince Vaughn's?
No, I was going to say Billy from Jurassic Park 3.
Oh. Well, his name was Owen, and at first I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, isn't that what Vince Vaughn's name was Owen in Lost World? And I have to, like, watch that one again to make sure. But I was like, for a second there, I was like, is he related to that character? But I'm like, that'd be kind of weird because they're not that big of an age difference. Mm-hmm. They're like 10 years off, unless it was like his younger brother or something.
Mm. Yeah, I was kind of, because they usually have they always had some kind of link to, like, I mean,
I want to say it's Ethan Van Owens, what his name is in Jurassic World, Lost Worlds.
Ryan said hello.
Oh, Ryan says hello.
Yeah. So, but no, the one thing was, I think that, like, and then when it get regarding to the characterization though, once you get to like Lost World, I mean, there the only characters that were really that cool was basically the guy that was like kind of a rehash of Muldoon. You had Malcolm still, and then you had like.
Are you talking about now? You're talking about the guy who's like the Muldoon guy, like the hunter guy for Engine.
Yeah, you had that guy, and then you had like Malcolm, and then everybody else is the girl.
I like Vince Vaughn in it. That's my favorite Vince Vaughn movie. In fact, it's probably one of the only movies I really like Vince Vaughn in, sadly enough. I try to like Vince Vaughn. I don't really have anything against him as an actor. I just don't always think he's that funny of a guy. I think he should be more in action movies. Now, that sounds weird, but as a kid, that was the only thing I saw Vince Vaughn in for a long time was Lost World.
No.
So that's what I think of him as an action movie star.
He did like Swingers, and people really loved Swingers, and people loved Maid. So I think from there, that kind of led to Old School and all that. So I think that. Yeah,
well, it's like Old School. That's actually one of the good ones. You know, Wedding Crashers. But there's just some of the ones, and maybe it's some of the ones I've seen in recent years. It's not like he's bad or anything like that. I just don't think he's just the funniest guy. He just doesn't come across to me as a comedic actor. I don't know. Maybe I'd like to see him in a drama or something like that.
Oh, he had a great short part in the Wild. He had a great short bit in that.
Oh yeah, he was really good in that. Mm-hmm. But you know, think about it. Like that would have been sweet if he had a cameo in Jurassic World.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jurassic Park has a lot of built-up characters that could just have like small little scenes. It would have been cool if there was multiple small little scenes.
I would have assumed at some point they would have brought in like maybe someone who was like because they usually link into each other somehow. Because the second one, I thought it was kind of an interesting thing. You don't see it too often where they take the supporting character who's in the first one just a little bit and make him the main character, like in Lost Worlds.
Yeah.
Number 3, it's like, okay, it's back to the main character, but basically the main character only. And I felt like everybody in the third one, with the exception of Billy, Sam Neill, and the kid, that was like the only kid in the movie that really stood out. Like, the kid in the whole Jurassic Park series. I think everybody else is still kind of just bland and kind of, whatever. Those people are just tagging along, because they're just a bunch of dumb parents, like you shouting at a megaphone out in the fucking jungle. There's T-Rexes.
Well, I felt like they have even like a nod to that in Jurassic World, where she starts shouting and stuff, and then Chris Pratt's like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing? There's dinosaurs."
This movie had a lot of nods to it, because I think for a while, I think Universal didn't realize how much of a fan basis Jurassic Park had, because when 1 and 2 came, when 1 through 3 came out, I think it was one of those things like, oh yeah, people like Jurassic Park, and they just kind of came out, and they had some toys to sell with it. But then I think they suddenly realized there is this whole bit of nostalgia for Jurassic Park, because this one had a lot of nods to previous Jurassic Park films, especially the first one.
Well, you know what I think it also is too? I think Jurassic Park, it took a while for that to build up, because I think what it was, to people like from about our generation and a little bit back and even ahead, you can say too, I think that's the people that movie really like hit with. So now those people are all either in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. And those are the really big fans of Jurassic Park. Not saying that a lot of people like Jurassic Park, obviously, when it came out, of all age range. But I think that kind of took to grow. And when that did, it's finally like, now it's like, oh, people do really want this. And then, I mean, we all know that Jurassic World kind of was supposed to come out, many years ago. And then Michael Crichton passed away. So then we were like, oh, are they even going to release it? So then there's like that couple-year period where they waited. And then it's like, oh, never mind. Here it is. It's coming back.
Well, there's a handful of it was the whole thing with the reason why number 4 took so long to come out was that at first it was they didn't like the scripts, because their engine was weaponizing dinosaurs, and a ship of them just crashed into some South American island somewhere, and it was basically just ran by dinosaurs, it was infested. They couldn't do anything. And
when you say it's like ran by dinosaurs, like what? You go into the local shop and there's like a velociraptor, and they're typing in on the cash register.
You go to grab hey, this is 2% milk. It's 5 cents more expensive than it was last week. Oh, no, I'll talk to your manager. The other one walks out.
He's got a fucking little business suit on. And a tie.
You have subtitles.
That was definitely not... That wasn't the Jurassic Park movie we really wanted to go for. I thought there was going to be engine, and it was going to turn into this catastrophe, and dinosaurs going to break out. I didn't realize it was some Dinotopia. It was almost like it turned into the dinosaurs live action film.
It was more like the dinosaurs.
Like the 90s show.
It's more like the dinosaurs just make it's not really all that violent or scary. The dinosaurs just basically make second class citizens out of all the humans, because they're basically running it now. When driving just raise the price up and shit, trying to evict them out of their homes, Just make it this whole social racial commentary on society, but no one fucking fires a dinosaur. No one gets eaten. Maybe in the first 5 minutes. 1 week later, the dinosaurs had the island under control.
Yeah, it just took a couple people getting eaten, and the next thing you know.
Just have I don't know, it's the stupid shit like that makes you laugh. You just have a fucking stegosaurus in a classroom of a bunch of human children pointing at a board, at a chalkboard with a yardstick in its mouth, pointing, just no one's understanding. They're just kind of looking at each other. Then it just slams its tail on the desk, okay, I guess it wants us to return our papers. It just puts its paw print in shit and rubs it across the paper. It looks like maybe it's a C. I can't tell. I want to see that now too. That could be Jurassic Park 5.
That sounds like an interesting one there too. Well, hopefully with the success of this movie, because the theater that I was at, it looked like it seemed like it was much more crowded than Avengers 2.
Twitter was blowing up about this movie, and it was pretty crowded when I was there for being like a Thursday night with this game going on. So yeah, and people even clapped when I mean, I'm not a clapper for the movie unless I'm like at a festival where I know someone might be there who's in.
Well, yeah, unless you know the director's actually standing back there, it's weird to clap at a movie. That's all I have to say.
But that being said, a lot of people clapped at the end of this movie, so yeah.
So, but that's always mostly a good sign, though. Even though I think the clapping's weird, it means that people like the movie, so
yeah.
Can't complain there.
That's only happened with 2 movies I've seen recently, that and Mad Max. I mean, Mad Max is still probably my favorite movie of the year so far. But
yeah, Mad Max is pretty darn sweet.
This one was pretty awesome, though. It was pretty damn awesome still. I will say, though, I think that kind of like, it's just really kind of... one thing I do want to say, I'm probably, if you listen to the show enough, you probably know we're going to go into some spoilers here. But one thing with the Jurassic Park films, I wish the human villains were just a little better. I wish you can give us kind of like a Muldoon villain, like someone who could actually kick ass or be kind of a bad guy. Because it's always just some fucking douchey business asshole, and then he just ends up...
Well, and the Kingpin.
It was Vincent D'Onofrio, yeah. But, I mean, even he was still kind of like, even though it was Vincent D'Onofrio, and I've seen how threatening he can be in, like, Daredevil, he the whole time was just kind of like just this bumbling idiot, like, whoa, put a saddle on that raptor so I can ride like it's a fucking Yoshi, you know. So and then,
well, he was almost like kind of creepy with those raptors. He's kind of like, "Do you mind if you like let me take one of these raptors in the back room?" You know,
sort of get acquainted.
They're trained, right? You know,
trained. He's like making hand motions.
He's like look where their head position is.
It's a perfect level.
I thought you were something like the dinosaur glory hole here.
I want to take Blue. Can I take Blue? Something about that one.
That's my boy Blue right there.
Boy Blue. He just goes up to the Raptor's ear, whispers, "Little boy Blue." And like the Pratt's like, "Dude, can you stop? Can you just get away from my Raptors? You're making it uncomfortable."
There was this guy, like, I knew for a little bit that, like, he'd always have the same, where he's like, "That's my boy Blue! My boy Blue!" And when that fucking blue raptor comes running back in to save the day, that's all I pictured. I saw this guy in my head going, "That's my boy Blue!" And he'd have, like, this really high-pitched voice where it kind of cracks.
Pops up in the corner of the screen, just like a fucking gopher.
"My boy Blue!" And I would just bust up laughing.
Was that one Blue that came in at the end?
I think so. It made sense, because all the other ones didn't really have any, like, lovey-dovey names. It was all like, this one's Alpha, this one's Bravo, this one's 3.
That was Charlie. There was Charlie. It was Delta.
Oh, yeah, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. So they're ABC.
Yeah, oh, I didn't even think about that. That's a good point.
They weren't named very well. And then you got Blue, who was, like, the unique one.
Mm-hmm. I will say, I kind of thought, when I first heard he's, like, training raptors, I'm like... What? That's fucking stupid. When I first saw the trailer, but then when I actually saw how he did it in the movie, it made a little bit more sense.
Like, oh, it's like dogs or lions. Well, it's like he works for Siegfried and Roy.
Well, even at the part when he falls in, it's kind of like how even though they have this weird respect for him, they could still attack him if he walks in there at the wrong moment. So I kind of like it wasn't just like he can just go up to the raptor, bitch slap it, you know, and have it sit. I kind of liked that it was still one of those things like these things have like a sort of a respect for me, but if I do turn my back on it, they can attack me. And then at the very end, when you find out the new the genetically altered dinosaur, how it
that's just got everything in it,
which has a little bit of raptor in it. When it made sense for the Raptors to suddenly turn on them, but it was one of those things. It was kind of like, oh, which one do I go for? And for whatever reason, I mean, you people could say, oh yeah, it's fucking Hollywood bullshit. They can say that, but whatever. You're going to see a fucking like movie where people are riding with dinosaurs and fighting dinosaurs. You're not going to see like a fucking documentary here. So I mean, I can believe the a little bit of the oh yeah, we have a bond kind of thing. I know how unlikely it is, but I can still believe it for the movie. But that whole part though, when it comes in at the end, I kind of liked how the T-Rex actually had a moment, because for a while it seems like they didn't use the T-Rex in any of these movies.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like they always had to up the ante. You know, you had the T-Rex in that first one, and that was the big thing. And it was like, well, what's next? If you're going to up the ante, well, Lost World, you throw 2 T-Rexes in there. Mm-hmm. There you go. And then like in Jurassic Park 3. They had the up the ante. It's like, well, what's better than a T-Rex? And it's like, technically, a Spinosaurus isn't better than a T-Rex, but you know, whatever. You could just say that like it was genetically altered too. So they had the Spinosaurus that topped off, and I know that that kind of made a lot of people angry when the T-Rex got killed kind of like somewhat easily in the beginning by it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm a big defender of Jurassic Park 3, so it's like, I go with it,
I like Jurassic Park 3, too. There's only... The only thing I can't defend about Jurassic Park 3 is the zoom in. I mean, keep in mind, Joe Johnston's a good director. I like his work. You get the zoom in on Sam Neill's face. Is my God, she's calling for help. Like that's like the one part I can't really defend too much. But everything else, it's like, I can take it.
I noticed the people that seem to like that movie more are the people that read the book. Because it's kind of like all the deleted scenes that they didn't use in the first two movies. They incorporate that into that story there. And that's what I think is cool. Because you have the part where they're on kind of like the boat. And in the book, I think it's the T-Rex is like under the water there. And it pops up. And instead they got the Spinosaurus. And then they got the scene with the pterodactyls when they're in like the bird cage. And there's another one in there too, so it's kind of cool. So all these like scenes that were in that mostly in the first book, they got to finally use them in that one.
I gotta say,
yeah. Or you continue.
I was gonna say I felt really bad. I mean, yeah, she was kind of a bitch. I felt kind of really bad for that chick who was the assistant. Like,
yeah, she's put on job to take care of these two kind of dick kids when you get down to it. I mean, the little one's not bad, but they're not the grandest kids to be around. They're not horrible, but
well, the little one's not that bad. There was the other one who was just like, dinosaur, whatever.
Well, yeah, the first kid's like just like sitting there like, yeah, he's like, dude, there's a chick I want back. I got a girlfriend back home, but I'm gonna see how much I can fuck at Jurassic Park.
Something about seeing dinosaurs just makes me want to fuck. I don't know why.
I met this guy. He's kind of a huskier guy back there, and he was telling me about the Dino Glory Holder star.
I met him at Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville.
Yeah, he says he works for Engine. He seemed kind of cool. Kinda. Yeah, at first that guy, it's just like, I was kind of afraid. I will say when I saw that older brother, and he was like, just being like nothing's interesting. I hate things. Life sucks. You guys are stupid.
Even when
when he had that.
Even when the kid was like, Mom and Dad are gonna break up, like we're getting divorced, like, no they're not. And he's just like, yeah they are. They were getting two different like letters from different lawyers, and I looked up on Google, the divorce lawyers. He's like, you're gonna cry about it, you fucking pussy? You're gonna cry? You wanted to see
I fucking busted up laughing at that scene. Just like, dude, this guy like so does not care about anything.
You could just like man up and not cry. Look, there's the dinosaur. You wanted to jerk off to a dinosaur, there's one over there. Yeah, stop crying, little fucking pussy. It's like that part right there. I'll say I did like. I mean, they're just the kid characters, but I did like the younger kid. The younger kid was actually kind of.
Well, the younger kid was good because he was like the kid who was really into dinosaurs and the childlike hero.
He was basically Timmy. He was basically Timmy from the first one when it gets down to it.
Yeah, that was another part too where I was like, I thought about that with those kids. I'm like, those kids could have been like either Timmy or Lex. They could have been like one of their kids. Like that's the only thing in this movie. There's so many parts where I see I'm like, that could have been worked in. Even though I do have to say this. Okay, I have to see the movie again, but when the kids are coming into Jurassic World on the train, I think a girl behind them is reading Ian Malcolm's book.
There's the nerdy programmer. Ian Malcolm's book is like on his console right there.
Okay, well maybe they just like slap Jeff Goldblum around in different places in that movie. It's just like where's Waldo?
You just see him pop up in the corner, like peeking around the corner once in a while.
Okay, well, because if you saw that means like that's probably it. Because I saw it, and I was like, that looks like fucking Ian Malcolm. And those are like some of those details that you would never catch if you never saw the movie in theaters. Because you just need that big screen to see it.
Even though this part seemed almost something like very comic, like this almost didn't seem like something that would be in a Jurassic Park movie. I still thought it was pretty funny. It was it was an easy laugh, but it was still funny. There's the part where like there was the nerdy guy who I think it was almost supposed to represent like, this is the Jurassic Park fan. Why? Because he's wearing a Jurassic Park t-shirt. He's making all the nods. You know what I mean?
He's got dinosaur toys around his desk.
Yeah, and then like there's the part where like he's actually the one guy staying behind to help on the computer, and
He's got like a picture of Nedry fucking next to him. He didn't realize that Nedry's the one that brought the whole place down. It was just like, I want to be a computer like programmer just like my hero.
They're like, is that a picture of the guy from Seinfeld? No, it's his distant cousin, Nedry. But there's the part where he
and his other brother was like helped out the Punisher.
Their cousin helped out Michael Jordan with the basketball with the Looney Tunes. It's a very extensive family.
It's a big family of almost twin like relations.
Very interesting histories. But anyway, when the guy goes up to the one other like girl, it's computer programmer, walks up to her, he's going for the kiss, the music's building. He's like, oh no, I have a boyfriend. Like, oh well, you never mentioned, but yeah, it's I'm at work, I'm trying to be professional, so yeah, they just like the friend zone, like awkward hug, like okay, well you have I'll see you later.
I'm gonna stay here
okay.
alone.
And
I might die.
And they're just like, okay, yeah.
Probably turn the power out on me.
It's like, okay, you do that, and I kind of like that. Like, I know usually like that almost seems like a little like too over the top, but for that moment in the movie, I thought it worked pretty good.
Well, I feel like it's kind of nice too because it's different because you expect them to like kiss, but by doing the exact opposite, where she's like, oh no, she just kind of was like, no, get the fuck out of here. You stay here and die off the dinosaurs. I'm getting out of here.
And then now it was just like
the awkward hug. You circle yourself in dinosaurs your entire life.
He even took like the little like brontosaurus one with him after the end. I kind of like though how they did the build up because this movie did try to do a lot of fan service things. Kind of like when they finally go, we got to get something else out here because they had all the raptors. Like, okay, cool. There's the raptors. And then at the very end, they save it. The girl goes to get T-Rex to fight this thing. So it's a raptor and a T-Rex together going to get it. When they start playing the theme for a second, when you see the T-Rex walk out in slow motion, because they showed T-Rex just for like a split second earlier.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's just like there's the goat. It's like, where's the goat? And there's like, whoa, there's a T-Rex. See, look at him eat that. Which now, like, when you think about that park, though, it's just kind of like, come watch animals slaughter other animals. They're like, we got this great white shark here that used to be scare you guys from the movie Jaws, but now there's something bigger to be afraid of.
A giant fish lizard. Want to see something fucked up, kids? Watch this. Yeah.
It's like hangs the great shark, goes like jumps up, eats it, just like, are you not entertained? You know, who's another character that's actually like done pretty well was the Indian guy who was pretty much the new John Hammond.
Yeah. I can kind of tell that a lot of these characters, if the actors were still like old enough or alive, they probably would have. That's probably who that person would have been.
Yeah, well, it's almost just that kind of thing. It's like this is just in a sense the next generation or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I thought that guy was pretty cool, and he had good lines, and they made him kind of like they made him like John Hammond, where it's like, okay, he's this rich billionaire guy, who's making a theme park and all, but he's not in it for necessarily just the money. He wants to do it so that people can really experience something neat.
Wanna, who I think he was also a little inspired off of, just to guess. It's also because like it's one of those things where life mimics art, and then art remimics it. The guy who owns Virgin, or he did own Virgin.
Oh yeah, they got the long blonde hair.
Yeah. I think he was supposed to be him a little bit because he had some of his mannerisms and kind of like that. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I just go out adventures and this and that. And plus,
because he's flying a helicopter, and then he decides to fly the military guys in.
Yeah, and that guy in real life, though, that guy was trying to create a real Jurassic Park, or at least like create one dinosaur and have it on display. So I think that right there is.
There was that cool, like Kevin Smith had that podcast with him, and I thought that was a pretty good.
I thought that was kind of cool, like how he just happened to be on. He happened to be that guy's playing. The guy's like, "Hey, you, come serve drinks with me for a second. You're kind of famous." And then after that, he like sits down with on Kevin Smith and does a podcast with him for 15 minutes, which that was nice of him for sit down with him for 15 minutes.
Yeah. But, I thought that character was pretty cool. And it was actually, what's so kind of amazing is, like, I mean, I know it's Jurassic Park, so you can't expect people to die left and right, but, like, some characters do just end up dying. Like, I guess what we're saying, we never got around to this, but the poor girl that has to take care of the two kids, and then the kids, like, or the other girl's like, come on, dude, though, you want to be really cool? Let's ditch this bitch. They're like, I'll show you Jurassic Park. It's like he's been there before or something like that.
Me and Hammond go back, bro.
So like they run away, and this girl, she's spending like the next like 12 hours searching. Well, maybe it's not that long, but still, the next like half of the day looking for these kids. It's like her fucking job is on the line because she lost them. And then the second that she finally sees them, it's like the pterodactyl attack happens, and then she just gets taken away.
Well, first she's getting tossed around by the pterodactyl.
Oh no, yeah. She gets tossed around by multiple pterodactyls,
and she gets dropped in the water with the giant like fish lizard thing. And then the pterodactyl goes in trying to lift her up, but it's having trouble lifting her up. So she's bobbing up and down underwater. She's in this thing's jaw. She's not dead, but she's just bobbing up and down underwater. Then the thing comes up and fucking eats them both and drops down.
Both of them.
Yeah.
It's just like, are you not entertained?
The fucking announcer is still out there.
Well, that's the thing. Is like a lot of these characters kind of like went down. It's like, oh, they're fucking dead. Like you sort of expect them to get out of these situations. Like, oh no, I guess not. Just like the guy, like the pretty much the new John Hammond Indian guy, because that guy's flying in the military guys, and they're gonna go take down all these pterodactyls and take down the new whatever mutation dinosaur. I don't know what they call it. Do they have a name for it?
It was like Tyrannus. It was
Tyrone.
It was just Tyrone. Yeah. We landed on Tyrone. It was easy. It just slipped out. No, it was Indominus Rex. That's what it was.
Oh, okay, that's what it was, Indominus Rex. Well, they go in there, and then next thing you know, that's when all the pterodactyls are breaking out and all the other, like, flying creatures. And then their helicopter starts spinning out of control and going down and crashes in there. And it's like, you kind of expect just to kind of, like, do, like, a crash landing and then have him get out. But it's like, oh, no, that just crashes down and explodes, and he's dead.
That's one of those things that kind of, like, I saw that coming, and I think this is where trailers kind of show too much, because in the trailers they showed a helicopter crashing through the bird cage, and then that's where all the pterodactyls fly out, and that's where I also saw that chick get picked up by the pterodactyls, and she was wearing that same outfit most of the movie, so I was kind of like, okay, that chick's the chick in the trailer, she's probably gonna die. And when I saw they got in the helicopter heading towards it, like, okay, the thing's going to crash in. So there's one of those cases where, even though it didn't kill the movie for me, I just wish they didn't show so much in the trailer, because I kind of saw some of that stuff coming.
You know, there's something to be said about making those trailers where you actually don't show any in-movie footage. Now, that's always like an iffy one when you get down to like a low-budget movie, but... You know, when they have those trailers where all the footage they shoot's only for the trailer.
Well, I mean, I think there's still a way to do it. I mean, I understand you got to throw some stuff in there. I almost, I don't know, I guess I just saw it coming. When you kind of show, like, okay, well, this chick's going to die because she dies in the fucking trailer, basically. I mean, who knows? Maybe she would have made it if just right there getting picked up by a pterodactyl and flying away. I'm going to assume right there you're fucking dead. And then, even though they elongated, like, oh, maybe she is going to make it. Oh, maybe she's not. Oh, no, she just got eaten by a giant lizard fish thing.
Yeah. Once she hits the water, you know that's the end of it.
Well, I will say real quick, though, I was thinking about this. I think that's the first time a girl character died in Jurassic Park.
Well, in Jurassic Park 1, there's only, like, 2 girls in the entire, like, movie.
Not going off the books, just go off the movies. I think that's the first time a female character died.
As I'm thinking in Jurassic Park 2, I don't think a girl dies in that one that you know of.
Maybe like a random.
Well, technically, there's that scene that would never got finished being shot. I don't know if you know about this, but okay, you know at the end of Jurassic or in Lost World, where it just sounds so weird. I just put this all together. I'm like, because I almost just said Jurassic World, and I was like, wait a second.
Lost World.
Fuck. If you combine Jurassic Park and Lost World together, you get Jurassic World. I never thought about that till right now.
Maybe that was intentional, because now I'm thinking about it, because I was like, the Lost World, and then like, you get to Jurassic Park 4, just like Jurassic World. I was just like, that seems like a weird thing to call. Why would you call it Jurassic? I'd be like, oh wait, the second one.
It just all came full circle. I don't know why this took like 3 years for this to all sink in and come to get me. Oh man, a revelation right there. But okay, there was a scene that was supposed to be shot. Okay, you know when the T-Rex gets to San Jose and is, terrorizing around, and he shows up to that one house, and the kid's like, Mommy. Or yeah, San Diego. No, yeah, not San Jose. Nobody cares about San Jose enough for T-Rex to show up.
It had a long walk from the water.
Yeah, that's T-Rex. They can manage it. But okay, it's San Diego, and there's that house where the kid's like, Mommy, there's a T-Rex outside. They're like, fucking kid, get over here. Let me slap the shit out of you and go back to bed. It's that goddamn fish tank again. Stop looking at the stupid fish tank. I told you, honey, you're not supposed to put a fucking fish tank in a kid's room. And then, whatever.
The original script.
Yeah, the original script. Well, in that same original script, that family was supposed to get eaten by the T-Rex.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
T-Rex just, plunges its head through, the window or something?
Yeah, because I was listening to a podcast that had the kid on it. That was like, "Mommy, mommy, there's a T-Rex outside," and that guy, he's older now, and he was talking, and he was saying that like, yeah, it's like my dad was there, on the set, and he was telling me that like there was later on, he's like, they're supposed to shoot the scene where like you and the whole family are supposed to get eaten by that T-Rex. But Steven Spielberg decided, like, well, it's either the dog or the T-Rex or the family, but we can't do both. So, and I think they just went like the dog's the cheaper one to do because all you gotta do is just show the leash in the T-Rex's mouth. Where like the family, it's got to set up all this stuff and have them destroy the building. I think it just became more of an extra cost and time that they just didn't want to do. But it's an interesting thing.
I think what you would have had is you probably just would have had the family scream like, ah!
Yeah, I probably would not show like this very gruesome, just like sitting there, just like, oh.
And you just see the T-Rex dive its face into like the building. That's probably what you would have saw. Yeah. Or anything.
Well, yeah, I wasn't expecting to be like,
I still thought maybe it was implied the family died because they're still looking at this thing. Thing looks at them and then like screams right at them. So I thought it was implied they got eaten.
Yeah, so they probably did. So that's our closest thing to maybe a woman dying. And then Jurassic Park 3, the only woman that's there is like the mom, and we all know she doesn't die.
And then this one, so I was...
Should have. She was really asking to die for the first quarter of the movie.
I thought it was a good little nod they made with this one when they actually came full circle. And they come across like this was a total like nod for the fans. This is kind of one of those ones where, because like I said, I think Jurassic Park 2 and 3, like okay, well people like them, so we'll make more of them and we'll sell some toys to the kids. And I think really Jurassic Park is at this point. I mean, some people may disagree with me, but I think Jurassic Park's kind of at this point where it's almost kind of like Alien or something like that,
Well, this is what I've always said. To me, Jurassic Park, it feels like for the people that obsess over Star Wars and Star Trek and things like that, Jurassic Park always felt like that's like the trilogy that's like my trilogy. Like if there's that one trilogy that I really like, well, that's a quadrilogy. But like I have that like obsession that somebody might have with Star Wars. Don't get me wrong, I still love Star Wars and all that stuff, but Jurassic Park has always just been that one that's just that amazing. And I think the main thing about Jurassic Park, what makes it so cool, is that there's really not very many dinosaur movies out there in like the last like 120 years. You think about it, it's like you got Jurassic Park series, you got Carnosaur, you got King Kong, it's got a T-Rex in it. You got the old Lost World films. You got We're Back. That was a little stretch.
We're back.
But think about it.
I didn't know.
There's dinosaurs in Journey to the Center of the Earth? Is there dinosaurs in the book to the Journey to the Center of the Earth?
I believe
Well, I guess if that by that standard you got like Land of the Lost, like the TV show.
I forgot
but I mean, like in general, like Jurassic Park's like the only kind of really serious dinosaur movie there is.
In
Well, Carnosaur's a pretty cool one, too.
Carnosaur...
It's cheesy, but it's cool.
Carnosaur, I remember, I think that was a total, like... It was trying to ride on the tailcoats of Jurassic Park, like, guess what?
It came out the same year as Jurassic Park, as well.
Do you think that was one where they just happened to, like, release these two things at the same time? Or do you think, like, yo, that fuck Spielberg is coming out with a dinosaur movie. We'll do one cheaper. We'll make it more violent.
I'm Roger Corman. I'll show him more.
Corman. That makes sense. It was Corman. Okay,
yeah,
makes
Roger
sense.
Corman. I got that movie. Somebody gave me that the other day. They're like, dude, this came in like he worked at like a thrift store. He's like, I thought you'd like it. And he handed me, I'm like, dude, you got me a copy of Carnosaur from Canada. I was like, that's the most amazing thing ever.
So it has like, it's in English.
His name's Dave. He really wants to be on the podcast.
Okay, bring him on. It's in English and French.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's got the French up, but it's all got the Canadian rating on it and everything.
No, that was like, I remember Carnosaur. I never seen the whole thing, but that movie kind of like traumatized me from a young age. I remember just like, I thought it was Jurassic Park for a second. You're at that age where, because I wanted to see Jurassic, I want to say like Carnosaur came to TV or video before Jurassic Park did. Maybe I'm wrong there. But I want to say it was before we owned Jurassic Park. And I came across it on TV like, is this Jurassic Park? Because I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it when we got it on VHS. And then there's a part where a chick gets grabbed by a dinosaur, pulled into like an air vents. The thing drags her into a corner, rips her arm off. Now it probably looks super cheesy, but like, at the time though, it was like super fucking like I was like, that was like the most violent thing I've ever seen. The thing like ripped her arm off, and I remember she's sitting there like like in pain. And the thing starts eating her stomach, and then she starts vomiting blood right there. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time. I remember because Cisco had a VHS copy of it, and it had the Fantastic Four, the original movie trailer on it. And I was like, oh, like fuck, I gotta find that Fantastic Four copy. But Carnosaurus, it's fun. I mean, yes, it is kind of the B movie, but on that copy of the DVD, it says 2 thumbs up by Siskel.
That could happen every so often. I mean, I think even like, like kind of like little junk food films like that could still kind of like be recognized by critics, which is always kind of surprising when they are. Like I listened to a podcast called Junk Food Cinema, which is by Austin film critic named Brian Salisbury, and then Robert C. Cargill, who was on Spill for a long time.
Yeah.
And then he has a novel out. He has like 1 or 2 novels out. Then he was also the screenplay. He was one of the main writers, because I think the screenplay for Sinister was written by him and the director. So they have this podcast where they talk about just like movies that they feel are underappreciated, and they're usually kind of like genre and kind of go unnoticed. And they had one on there. I was really surprised about this because I thought nearly everybody hated this movie, but like you and me. But they had one on there for...
See, that's kind of like what our podcast is. We just defend movies and shit that like everybody else seems to hate.
Check it out. I mean, they've said some things I don't agree with about other movies, but they've talked about movies and they praise movies that I don't like once in a while, but I'm always interested to hear what they got to say. But they had a whole episode defending Punisher Warzone. So...
That's cool.
And the whole episode,
because that's that's one of my favorite Marvel movies.
What they basically do is they'll talk about a movie, like, so it's something that's usually genre, so it could be like an 80s slasher film, or it could be like 90s or something from a few years ago. But they'll usually talk about some kind of genre film that most people don't really like, go into some interesting history about it, and then at the end they kind of give it a junk food pairing, saying this is kind of, if you're gonna have a snack to it, this is basically what it would be. So, and they just a little bit ago did one on Escape from New York. So, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out at some point. You've mentioned it before, and then sometimes like you hear it, and then you go, oh, okay, I should check that out, but then you forget about it like 10 minutes later. But back to Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, I guess where we're at. I don't really remember where we left off. We're talking about like what makes why Jurassic Park stands out so cool, and I think it's the fact that it's just one of those ones. There's just not a lot of dinosaurs, and it's like I don't know why, because dinosaurs is one of those things. It's a realistic thing. These things existed. They're not created up, like a Martian or even superhero characters or all this stuff, or aliens or predators and whatnot. I mean, it's a full-on real thing. Like it can actually happen. But nobody really utilizes it. It's like I was thinking video games too. It's like one of my favorite games ever is Dino Crisis, especially the second one. But that's like one of the only like non-Jurassic Park dinosaur games out there. They just we got Turok. That's the other big one.
Mario World.
But even Turok Mario World's close too. But even Turok strayed away from dinosaurs for a while, where they started having too many more mutants and whatnot. But it is one of those things though. It's just like I don't know why dinosaurs are never that used. It's like, to me, it's like a dinosaur's way scarier than like a zombie or anything else like that. I mean, come on, like I always just think about Dino Crisis. I remember when that very first one came out and renting it from like the Twain Hart video scene. Just how intense and how scary that was. And I came from playing Resident Evil, so going into Dino Crisis, it was just that much more terror. And the weird thing too, it's like I would love to see a game like. I actually just bought this today. They had the Jurassic Park game. The Lego one. Because I was like, this is the first time a Jurassic Park game's come out in like 15 years. It's not like the iPhone game or like a tablet game. Mm-hmm. But this one goes through all 4 movies and whatnot, so I'm like, fucking A, I'm buying it. It's Jurassic Park. But, it's one of those ones like, why is there not more dinosaurs in video games? I mean, we see robots, we see aliens, we see monsters, we see mutants, we see zombies. We see Nazis, but we don't see dinosaurs. Hell, I'll take a Nazi zombie riding a dinosaur. It doesn't matter to me. But it's like, why aren't dinosaurs more in video games? Or why aren't they more in movies?
If you just made that list right now, check out something called Kung Fury. It's a little 30-minute movie on YouTube. Just check that out when you can.
Yeah, I know that one.
You saw it?
No, I didn't see it yet. I saw it when it came out. I was like, oh, I should check that out. I was like, oh, it's 30 minutes. I'm like, oh, that means I got to have some time to sit down and watch this one.
Watch it when you can. Oh, that's all I'll say. We'll get back to it.
I know. There
isn't a Nazi riding a dinosaur, but you're kind of close.
Is there a dinosaur in it?
There's dinosaurs in it as well as Hitler. Hitler's the bad guy.
That's cool. I'll have to check that one out. I kept seeing things on it, but it was just one of those ones I saw. I was like, oh, that's a half an hour. That means I got to like really dedicate some time to this thing.
Well, I won't say a whole lot, but basically, it's a total love letter to like '80s like genre, science fiction, and video game type stuff. But it's also kind of like a parody at the same time. But you actually see they actually like what they're making fun of. And at some point, he goes back in time to go stop Hitler, but he goes too far back, and a fucking raptor comes up and says, oh, fuck, it's a laser raptor. And she's laser eyes. And at some point, he comes across some, like, hot, like, barbarian, like, Norse chick. He says, like, yeah, you're in the Norse ages. Like, that explains the laser raptor.
That's pretty fun. Now, I'll just have to download that video so I can, like, watch it on TV.
Oh, it's good. Watch it. But it's stupid as fuck, but it's good.
What was I saying? Oh, Jurassic Park. You know what? Okay, I have to say this, though. For our one and only returning character, Dr. Wu, which I think that's cool. You know, the guy has maybe a less than 10-minute... He probably has about 5 minutes scene in all of Jurassic Park. Mm-hmm. But that character's always stood out to me. You know, it's like, this guy's the guy who's creating these dinosaurs. When he really gets down to it, he's the bread and butter of this operation. Mm-hmm. So it's cool to see him come back. The one thing I was kind of confused with is Dr. Wu supposed to be a bad guy in this entire movie?
He was kind of a bad guy. I think it was one of those.
Well, because I mean, like at first, he was kind of creating as like he was taking as a job. Like, I mean, where else are you going to create dinosaurs at? Yeah. It's not like you could go. It's not like you go to the next door to the other island.
Look, I'm good. I'm good at one thing and one thing only: making fucking dinosaurs. All right. You don't have a whole lot of PhDs for that shit, but I got it, and that makes me valuable. Just not a lot of people are looking to make dinosaurs right now, you know? So, cut me some fucking slack.
Well, then it's like, the thing goes on, they kind of have the first, like, oh, okay, so he was kind of forced to create this for the park, okay, whatever. But then there's that one part, it's just like, he calls up fucking Kingpin, and he's talking to him, doing the thing like, he's like, yo, you're going to get me, like, what I need, right? And it's like, I was like, what the fuck? Is Dr. Wu a bad guy? And then, like, you kind of wonder, it's like, okay, is he a bad guy? And then I assumed something bad was going to happen to him in the long run of the movie. But somehow, some way, they just never re-answered that question, so.
I took it as the whole thing was, he's maybe not a total bad guy, but a little bit of a mad scientist.
Well, yeah, I guess not a bad guy, but he was in on it was going to be a military project for these dinosaurs. Mm-hmm. Or for at least the creation of the, what was it, Gyrorex?
The Indominus Rex.
Because
when the new John Hammond guy basically comes in and says like, "What the fuck are you making here? What'd you make?" He says like, "Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say in your memo? You wanted this, that. You can't have that without actually having it be what you want. You know what I mean? You can't advertise it as a predator without it actually being a scary predator. Sorry, that comes with it. You know. So, and then he presented it like the only thing is that he kind of presented like, we are doing important work here. He had like the kind of mad scientist thing you see like in every like mad scientist movie. Like,
yeah, that was the part where it's like, what the fuck? That's Dr. Wu. It's like he's all good.
Well,
and then, like when I started seeing
I guess it's like
it confused me.
He only had like 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes in the first one. Just like, hey, this is Dr. Wu. He makes dinosaurs. What's up? This one's a raptor.
He's Asian.
Yeah. You know?
we got diversity here at Jurassic Park. Look here's the Negro man, and here's my Asian, and there's a fat guy over there too. We spared no expense.
Muldoon like goes over there. He's like, John, like, and he's Australian. Yeah, they know, they can see. Okay, like, all right, John, we talked.
And I'm Irish. It's just like John.
We talked about this. You don't need to point it out. We're all glad you're embracing diversity. Like it's very like good for an old guy to be embracing diversity like this. Like, that guy's black. He is, John. He is. It's just he's
the Negro.
Okay, we don't say that word, John. So let's just take it down a notch.
We don't.
There's dinosaurs. Oh, there is dinosaurs. Oh, that reminds me. They actually made another little nod they did. This movie's just full of them. When they come across Mr. DNA in the hologram room.
Oh yeah, that was really cool, and he was like a CG version of him.
Yeah, and they also had
your blood.
And when they actually,
well, even
they actually go back to the original park, like the original dome.
That's actually like probably like my favorite part of the movie is the kids after they're in their little like gyro ball fucking hamster wheel going across. Which once again, I have to say this. Okay, I can't imagine a park just saying like, "Hey kids, get in this hamster ball," but guess what? You get to drive it. because we all know what kids do when they get the controls of anything. We've all seen kids before, and like, no, and you know what's even worse? Not kids, uncles. Because okay, kids might have some like, oh, I don't know if I should, crash this into something. Sometimes you get like those uncle guys that are like 38 and they're just like, life kind of went downhill and shitty for me. I got my nephew Timmy here with me. We're gonna go stir some shit up. So he's like, come on, Timmy, get him with his fucking gyro balls. Okay, see that dinosaur over there? We're gonna go full speed into the back of his legs and make him fall over.
He has like a Dio shirt on that's all stained. He's got like a beer cozy, a mullet.
He's driving with one, drinking a beer. Well, that's what I mean. It's like, remember that like last time we went to like fucking like go-karts and there was like that older uncle guy just.
Exactly.
Who was the guy that was crashing into everybody? The fucking 38-year-old uncle guy, not the kids, not. So that's what I just pictured. So like that was the one thing. It's like I can't imagine somebody being able to full on control it because when you see the trailer, I just thought that like, oh, it probably has like a path, it goes on, or they control it kind of GPS like or so on. I
bet it's one of those things like if you probably get too close. I mean, they probably don't have all the detailed time to explain it. I mean, I know how it looks, but if I had to guess, I'm not trying to overly defend the movie, but I guess if you probably like. We're about to ram into one of those things. It would probably have an auto feature.
Yeah, it has a safety feature.
The little like video of like Jimmy Fallon on the screen. It says, "Whoa, guys, back up!" So.
But then it's like, okay, so these kids are like, they go through this gate that was broken down, and they keep driving along, and it's kind of cool because the whole time it's showing like Isla Nublar, and on the maps it keeps saying this restricted area at the very top. But like, if you know your Jurassic Park geography, you knew the whole time that that's where their park was at the very tip top there. I, as a kid, had this really cool folder that I still have, and it's all kind of worn out, but it's still there, from Jurassic Park 1, where it's got a T-Rex on the front of it, but on the back, it has the map of Isla Nublar on it.
That's pretty awesome. So you actually kind of knew the geography of it pretty well? Kind of like, almost like this.
So yeah, I gotta know the geography. It also explains that some of the games, like I think in the Sega CD one, it shows all like the geography in it and whatnot. But so the kids go up there into the restricted area, and lo and behold, they end up winding up on the old Jurassic Park, main center area. And it's all grown over now and kind of fallen apart, and the plants have taken over. But you get to see things like you see like the banner that fell down at the very end when dinosaurs ruled the earth. It's still there, which the kids take and wrap it up and turn into a fucking torch. You're like, that's my heritage there.
You're disgracing my people. And then they come across the night vision goggles just in the room with all the parked Jeeps and whatnot.
We're going to take a quick break right here. But now a word from our buddies at Painted Black Podcast. Take a listen.
I'm Pete, that's Brian.
Yeah.
There's Lou. We are Painted Black Podcast. We are Painted Black Comics.
If you could describe the show, what would you describe it?
Horribly offensive.
Balls to the walls.
A good time.
I don't know. Unprofessional? I wouldn't be surprised if fucking Barney heard some screaming from next door.
Right. Hey, yo, Fred, I got kicked out of the house. Can I stay with you guys for a little bit? No, Barney. We're not friends like that.
You better go stay with the zoo.
Yeah. Dum-dum, you should have said yes to your wife. Can you imagine what Disney World would have been like had he lived longer?
No Jews. That's the primary difference.
Yeah. I feel like he funded the Nazis in some way. I can't prove it.
The first fucking model of their helmet had ears on it.
Oh, the Basketeers coming over the hill. What the fuck's going on?
Dosan sounds like a Renaissance painter.
He was a fifth Ninja Turtle. He wasn't right in the head. They didn't really bring him out too much. I'd like to fight the foot.
That's probably why they had all the stupid ass toppings.
Bubble gum.
Fuck, who let those Dosan order the pizza?
I want stink bug.
Who put Legos on this shit? Can I give you money for sex?
I would enjoy making a transaction for a blowjob.
Can I get a receipt with that pussy?
Oh, yeah. How do I follow this?
Do you wash those briefs with starch?
Make that booty clap. Why don't you?
Let's hear Randy Newman doing the song for Pompeii.
Oh, he's on the spot.
Whoa, it's smoke. Volcano. Whoa, it's the smoke. Vesuvius.
Yeah, and the cool thing too is they fix up one of the Jeeps and everything, and then drive it out. Which that's just a cool nod because really, I will say this: when you look at Jurassic World, this shows like the big difference between the '90s and today. Is okay. The trucks that they're driving around, they're driving around these like slick, gray, silver Mercedes. That all they have on them is like just little Jurassic World symbol, small, just not enough to see it. Where in the '90s, you got those Ford Explorers, and they were neon green and yellow and red. I mean, they were awesome looking and just brightly colored. And that just goes to show just how like the '90s was full of color and love, and being still in the 2000s and now the 10s, you just still have this silver, dull, plain look.
I will say the old Jurassic Park Jeep Wranglers did look kind of like Trapper Keeper folders.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. I've just now noticed that. Now that you pointed out, yeah, they did kind of look like that.
But no, I thought that little just whole scene was really.
You got this very stern look on your face, like the fuck you say about
fucking talk about my Jeeps.
What do you say about my Jeep Wrangler? Right? What do you say? Why I got to show my Jurassic Park Jeep Wrangler, man? What the fuck? I thought I fucking knew. You're lucky you're on the other side of that screen right now. You just got this very stern look on your face.
Well, it's like, because, a scene that I always thought was really sweet was in Lost World at the very, well, not the very end, but like at the end of the island part, where they come across the other kind of like park main headquarters or whatever, and then they got that cool Jurassic Park mural in there and everything like that. And the one thing I will say I'd like to see in a Jurassic Park movie is we always seem to go back to the same islands. Jurassic Park 1, we're on Isla Nublar. I mean, that's the first one, so we're not complaining. The second one's cool because we go to Site B, which is Isla Sonar. And then in the third one, they go back to Isla Sonar. And it's like, oh, okay, well, we already kind of saw that island. It would have been nice because there's 4 of those islands there. But we never ever get to see what happens on those other 2 islands. And this 4th one's back on Isla Nublar.
Well, I'm wondering, once John Hammond died, because his final wish at the end of Jurassic Park 2 is just like, oh, just let these things be. Let them, grow and reproduce, and we'll just let
the second that he died, that wish fucking went out the window.
Go, 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 go! I think about all the work they had to do, because I mean, I'm not trying to, pick it apart, because every once in a while, you hear, someone say, at the end of Dark Knight Rises, why wasn't anybody questioning that, why Batman and Bruce Wayne were gone at the same time? Why weren't, you sometimes get a lot of fucking questions like that. It's like, well, it's a fucking movie, and we don't need a 5-minute scene of people going, where the fuck is Bruce Wayne? At the very end of the movie. We can just cut ahead. Maybe they do ask that.
Yeah.
We don't got to show it, though. So this is one of those things right there. I'm not trying to be that guy, but part of me has to wonder, why is it that the guys with the guns are the first to fucking die, yet they had to clear out. They clearly had to do some cleaning up in order to put all this shit here and round up all those dinosaurs. They had to go on a dinosaur hit squad here. They just fucking nuke the island or something and then start from scratch.
Well, if that was the case, we wouldn't have Jurassic Park till 2050.
Yeah.
It would have been fucking like Godzilla, King of Monsters Park.
Or maybe just maybe just dropped a bunch of I don't know, a disease, a bio weapon or something, and cleared it out.
From your blood.
From the blood. Yeah.
Well, what's the other thing too? It's kind of funny is I like how Indian is just sitting there on Jurassic World. They're almost just we're just waiting for this Indian guy to die so we could take over. Just like
Kingpin, that was the thing though. Kingpin wasn't even all that threatening. He was just a fucking dope. He was basically almost could have been Nedry to an extent, Nedry with just a little bit of military experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He went to a firing range 2-3 times in his life, maybe. And
he was a guy who's more of he sort of works for the military, but he really just works a desk job. He's a big fan of guns, but he doesn't really shoot guns.
He'll go to the firing range. He watches CMT or something,
Yeah, he's really into he watches a lot of military channel programs.
Exactly. So he can spout off facts, but as far as actually doing it though, Yeah,
so
I mean, it's one of those things. Get an actual intimidating human villain. I think that's the one thing I think Jurassic Park kind of would need. The first one, you don't need it. Fuck it. You got dinosaurs. Second one, you got his douchebag nephew, John Hammond's douchebag nephew, who gets eaten by a baby T-Rex very brutally, which that scene's awesome. But
yeah.
Third one, you have him for a second, but he gets eaten by a T-Rex.
Yeah, T-Rex always gets the best of them. But that's one of my favorite lines from the first Jurassic Park. is when you said Nedry, I was thinking about it. Like, one of the lines I love so much is when Hammond's all like, "Where's Nedry? Check the vending machines." It's just like, he's fat. It's back to that. Just like,
I noticed that
it's like, "Where's Samuel L. Jackson? Check the blues bars."
Well, it's one of those things now.
Hammond, we talked about it. Just because they're of a certain archetype doesn't mean that they follow that.
He just like stares at him blankly. He says like, "I don't understand what you're saying." And he just like then he just like, "Can you please rephrase that?" Like doing hand motions, like sign language.
And Muldoon's just looking at him like, "I speak fucking English here."
Oh, now you're speaking my language. Okay, so what were you saying, Muldoon?
And why did you bring back fucking Jeff Goldblum and not my kids? Out of everybody you could have brought back in the entire park, you brought the one guy I hate the most.
That is a sad thing. Go bring back my children. I ain't gonna find your kids, but I brought back the one guy you hate.
I'm almost surprised he didn't bring him down the side. He's like, okay, just, I don't care who you bring back. Just don't bring back Malcolm. Whatever you fucking do, don't bring back Malcolm. And then, you know, in like Lost World, that like when Malcolm comes to visit him and you know that Malcolm has to do the job for him and stuff, he's just like, fuck. You know, if Malcolm just didn't come back, maybe Gennaro could have been my fucking guy to go to Lost World and take care of him.
Just, why do I gotta talk to this guy? Why do I gotta talk to Malcolm? How's it going? Why don't you come on?
One guy I hate the most, and he's here again for another movie.
I just love that part. It's the little things in Jurassic Park 1, those little lines. Like, I think that's one thing about 2 and 3 is they don't have those little stinger lines like that, but just those weird lines like, "I really, really hate that man." or,
yeah.
Or like, no, I know my way around the kitchen. You know, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no. I know my way around the kitchen. There's just so many quotable lines in it. Or like, pretty much one of my favorite lines in there. It's like, he left us. But that's not what I'm going to do. I don't know what it is. It's the delivery of that line just puts a smile so big on my face. I feel like I'm the Joker in fucking Dark Knight. Just like it's that wide. It makes me so happy to hear that.
I will say though, because you mentioned that, because like D'Onofrio gets he dies pretty bad. He's trying to like at some point like the Raptors, they break away from Chris Pratt and his whole. We didn't even really talk about Chris Pratt. We will go get to Chris Pratt.
Yeah, we really missed out. And Chris Pratt is amazing in this movie, just like he is in Guardians of the Galaxy.
But I'll just get.
And it feels like he's twice as buff in this one. Like he was buff in Guardians of the Galaxy, but this one he's just standing there, just like walking around, like doors have to get out of my way when I come by them.
Doors. He can't bring his arms down entirely. He's just so ripped. No, but like,
and he's like wearing a shirt the whole time. He doesn't even take it off.
No, I was gonna say real quick though.
I was expecting that.
I want to say this before I forget. There is like there's that like you were saying like you're making like fat jokes for a second. I felt so bad for that Asian dude and that fat dude who are basically the first to go in this movie.
Oh, you mean like the poor security guard guy who's just like, "Oh, okay, Chris, I'll take you in here. We'll go together to look for this dinosaur. I'm not too sure. Let's go check what these scratch marks look like."
And I felt so bad for him and I was like, the second I saw him, like, oh, that dude's gonna die. He's gonna die. And
he's gonna die horribly. He's not even gonna have a good death.
And it's one of those things, like, I'm not saying that to be a dick. It's just one of those, like, a little bit of, like, it's not racism. Maybe it's sizist, but it's that thing. It's like kind of like there's that stereotype, like, the black dude's the first to go. That doesn't happen in movies as much. That's become a little bit of a cliche, so they've kind of backed that away a little bit. It can still happen from time to time. But that way, I saw that guy, I'm like, oh, he's fucking dead. He's sitting there eating Cheetos. He's sitting there fucking eating Cheetos. Like, oh, the raptor, the dinosaur got out. How? You know?
They put me in charge of the most dangerous dinosaur on the planet, and I ain't standing up for nothing. Unless I need to get to that vending machine.
John Hammond's like, I told you.
There's a part too where, like, when they go in there and they go, oh, wait a second, what the fuck? This dinosaur's camouflaged. So, like, they're hiding from it and stuff, and him and Chris Pratt have this thing where they look at each other, and it's almost like the way that guy looks, it almost like, it reminded me like he looked into the audience and just said, you know who you are. If you're like me, you just know that that's the end of it, you know. We're not going to outrun this dinosaur. Hell, if we tried, we wouldn't even get more than 10 steps.
It's one of those...
There was just that look in his face like he gave up, like he knows.
It's just they both bolt. And I'll say that, I mean... when I was younger, the dinosaur kill stuff, like the first two, I was really scared of the dinosaur kills. Third one, not so much. Maybe just because I was a little older, I knew what to expect. But third one, not really. None of that stuff really was too tense to me. Maybe it's just because it's been a little while since I've seen these movies. But the fourth one, I thought a lot of those scenes were pretty tense. And that part when he runs out there, when the Dominus Rex is chasing him down, the Chris Pratt, the Asian dude, and the fat security guy. The fat security guy actually isn't the first to die. It's actually the other dude. It's the Asian dude. But the guy, it almost seems like he almost dies worst. They're running out there. And you feel so bad for that guy because you think about yourself in that situation. Chris Pratt hides under. It's just like one of those things like that would not even cross my mind. I'd be so fucking dead. He rolls underneath the truck, and for whatever reason, you get almost when it comes to dinosaurs, you almost get like this video game logic. Well, if I just go where it's too big to fit, it's just gonna walk by and not even think about it. But no, but
yeah,
he rolls underneath a truck, cuts the cord to it, pours gasoline all over himself to cover his scent. The fat dude's just hiding behind a car, like, oh boy! And
he just takes a bag of Cheetos out and starts pouring it all over himself. It's like, it's all I have.
This is my last moment. Starts shoving the Cheetos in his mouth. Starts jerking off. You know, this is my last moment.
He's not breaking eye contact.
Look at me. This is what you did to me in my final moments.
I was sitting down minding my own business looking at a TV camera.
No, I got Cheeto dick. I don't care. Just going at it.
Fuck that Ron Howard's daughter and her stupid fucking red face.
The fucking T-Rex put the whatever the fuck. The I-Rex, whatever the fuck.
Tyrone
just puts his arms up.
See, it's much easier to call him
just
Tyrone.
Puts his arms up and just slowly backs his into the cage once he sees that. Like, okay, I'll go back.
I will say that's the one thing that's really cool is they use the camouflage part on that dinosaur because in the Lost World of the book, at the very end of it, they have these dinosaurs that are camouflaging themselves. And so they can't really see them, and they're almost sort of like a raptor, but different. And the only thing they ever appeared in other than the book is in the Lost World arcade video game. There's some of the enemies of those dinosaurs.
And that Tall Tale game.
Oh, I guess that's right. They did put them in that one.
Which it's a game's okay, you know, whatever. But
yeah, that was that game where like I was so excited. I remember when I first saw screenshots of it, I'm like, oh, dude. It looks like Dino Crisis, but Jurassic Park style. Like the number one game I wanted. So excited, so excited. And then when it came out, and I was like, oh, it's like that Sega CD style where you push buttons and things happen.
Well, I didn't even like...
Which was cool in like 1993, but now in 2012 or 11, whenever that game came out, it's kind of like...
I read nothing on it, so I just saw screenshots, so I just assumed it was kind of like a survival horror game. That I saw it was like,
I read stuff on it and I saw screenshots, but it never talked about it like the point and click and all that kind of stuff. They never mentioned that until I full on saw the game in real life.
But I gotta get back to this guy about the guy who dies real quick. One of the many people who die. The Cheetos. When he fucking eats it, or he gets eaten rather. It's
when Tyrone eats them.
Because you all kind of see it from Chris Pratt's perspective for most of it, because he's lying underneath the car, and the guy just sitting there like crying almost, like no, you know, and then like around the corner, and then you just see like the fucking truck getting knocked out of the way, and you just see the guy sitting there in the middle of like just out in the open, just looking down like he knows he's fucked, but it's one of those things like. He doesn't want to look up. He knows it's there, but he doesn't want to look up. And the next thing chomps him, just goes right up, like, fuck. And that's the thing. Then goes for Chris Pratt, but he's Chris Pratt, and he's just covered in gas, and he's just like Mr. Awesome in this movie, so he just gets away. Now let's get in Chris Pratt before I forget. Chris Pratt. This is like one of those situations. He was like one of those guys was just kind of like the goofy, kind of weird comic relief guy for a while.
He was fucking Cheetos for a while. He was just like, he could have been, like a couple years ago, he could have been that guy. the security guard guy hiding behind the truck.
But then it's like you watch him. It's like
maybe that's why they have that look and they connect together. He's like, I know.
I was you once.
You once were one of.
Like this could happen. This could be achievable. You just have to survive that. Because that's the thing about Chris Pratt. I look at him. There's that part where it's just like, okay, there's a whole part where he's demanding the dinosaurs, and it's just like the dinosaurs are like, fuck, I respect you. I want to eat the fuck out of you, man, but I fucking respect you. So I'm just gonna back away for a minute, all right? So there's the whole part he has with the raptors, and then later there's that his little like fucking like. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm by no means like a manly tough guy, but there is that part where just like. God, that's a fucking man right there. When Bryce Howard goes up to his little trailer bungalow right in the middle on the edge of the water. He's just fucking fixing his motorcycle, fucking tight shirt. It's just one of those things like, dude, show me how.
Yeah, show me the way.
Explain to me. Show me how.
Well, it wasn't that long ago because I remember there was a movie I caught some scenes of, and now that I think about it, it's a prequel to Jurassic Park 4 when you really break it down. Because who is it? It's fucking Vince Vaughn and Chris Pratt together in a movie. And I almost want to say it's one where
Delivery Man.
Yeah, Delivery Man. That's the one. And that's the one where Chris Pratt's he's in his husky stage there, but like now that I think about it, I'm like, dude, that's a fucking proto Jurassic Park movie. Maybe Vince Vaughn was giving him the talk and saying like, yo, if you get into shape, you could go work at Jurassic World.
I would have been in Jurassic Park 3, but this happened. So
yeah,
you just do some sit-ups, you'll be fine.
It's just what it was. Maybe that was the explanation. That's how he got there.
No, it's just one of those things like you just watch that. I mean, yeah, sure, he's being the kind of like total. It's like one of those things. I think that says a lot about the actor or the charisma of an actor because it's not that like his dialogue was god awful or horrible, but it was very kind of generic, kind of like, "Hey, lady, you just could use a little bit of dick. Come on," That's just basically what it was at the end of the day, and that can be kind of hard to sell. But when you got like an actor like it's kind of like one of those things like Arnold Schwarzenegger, for instance. He some people have trouble saying like his kind of lines or his kind of dialogue, but just given him and his charisma and the way how he carries himself, he's perfect for it. Chris Pratt is kind of in a different type of way, but the same thing in a sense, where it's kind of like the guy has so much charisma, he's so charming, and he just seems like so likable at the same time that he just has this kind of like. Yeah, he can say some things that seem kind of like, "Hey, come on, lady, just suck my dick. Not a big deal." Like, oh, he's not so bad.
Well, really, it's Chris Pratt. This is only really about the third movie I've ever really watched of him in it. I'm just thinking this, Guardians, and Lego. But he is that actor that I feel like pretty soon he'll be like an instant sell actor. Like you say, oh, Chris Pratt's in it? Oh, I'm there. I can see him being one of those actors.
I think so too. I mean, I'll say that he's done some. I mean, for a while he was a comic relief guy. Apparently, he was one of SEAL Team. This sounds weird, but I mean, he only has a few lines. He was one of SEAL Team 6 somewhere in Zero Dark 30, but he's like one guy out of like 15.
A bunch of them.
Maybe has a line. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Well, speaking of SEAL Team, it's kind of weird that he's like, I was in the Navy, like in Jurassic World. It's like, and that's how I got a job.
That's how I got training dinosaurs. That's why I thought it would have made more sense if it was like, I mean, going wrong, he did a good job, and I don't really know what the guy played Billy is doing right now. But that's what I was saying. It could have been Billy. It's like, well, I guess he's the youngest guy who's probably has some kind of relationship with dinosaurs, and since then he stole their eggs and became friends with them later. Not friends with them, but stole their eggs and got by long enough.
That's the one thing. I will say Jurassic World overall is just a film. I think it's fantastic. I think it has perfect flow. The characters are all good. The action's paced out well. Just the visuals are great. The story's good, so on. But just the one, and this is only a complaint as just a Jurassic Park fan, is I just feel there's so many parts where you could plug in one of these other characters. And you know what the weird thing about Jurassic Park? It has like almost the same problem that Resident Evil has. Not the movies, but the video games. Where they just keep making new characters, but it's like, why don't you just bring back the characters we know and love? Like, that's always in Resident Evil games. I don't know why they have to do it, but they can never just say like, you know what? You know who you like? Jill and Chris. And who else do you like? You like Leon and Claire. Let's just keep playing as these characters and keep going. They always have to do the thing where it's like, well, okay, this one you can play as Claire, but here's a bunch of other new characters. And this one you can play as Leon, but here's a bunch of other new characters. And it's just that point, it's like, they create this roster. And Jurassic Park's almost like that too, but on a smaller extent. It's like, from all three of these movies, you had the first one, and then the second one really only carries over Jeff Goldblum, and then there's cameos by the kids and John Hammond, and that's about it. And then you create, a bunch more characters because you got Vince Vaughn, and it never really explains. He sort of just kind of takes off and doesn't go anywhere else. Then you got, what's her name in it with the red hair? Jeff Goldblum's kind of like
Bryce
new
Dallas
girlfriend.
Howard. Oh, no, Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore. You got Julianne Moore. She could have came back. Why not? And then, in the third one, now you got Alan Grant came back and a bunch of other characters. And then you got your Billy. Why hasn't Billy come back? Or how about that kid? That kid would have been older by now.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't remember the kid's
I mean,
name.
the kid's probably pulling like a little bit far. But come on, let's throw Billy in there, even though I know he's kind of like the character that...
People probably wouldn't even remember him, really. I mean...
Well, he's where that line, like, that I always use this, is like, fucking Billy. Like, whenever something goes wrong, it's just like, fucking Billy, did you steal those goddamn eggs again?
That was the only thing he did the whole movie that was bad, but granted, that's a pretty bad thing, because that was the main source of contention for the Raptors in that one, but yeah. Though, I will say, though, that regarding that, I think that they were trying to do, and I'm not so much defending it, but I think they're kind of like, because this movie almost seemed to an extent a little bit more self-aware than other Jurassic Park movies, because they were kind of saying like, this is like, well, this is like oh yeah, we could throw them as Stegosaurus, and 20 years ago they'd be wow, but now they could need much more. They need something scarier, need something bigger,
So it's noticing the up the ante thing that pretty much Jurassic Park's always done.
Yeah, so it's kind of being a little self-aware for that, and I think that,
well, that's why I like that one nerdy guy with the dinosaurs and the mustaches, because I like how he's like,
the retro
come on,
fan.
Like, dinosaurs themselves, what's cooler than that? Like, why do we have to have these mutant dinosaurs?
And,
why does it have to be fucking Turok 2? Turok 1 was so awesome, why do we have to change the whole formula?
And then he said something to the effect of like, he even said this is a Chris Pratt line, but he says like, they're dinosaurs, wow enough. And I think that's almost kind of a play, because it's almost, I mean, maybe just because you and me have this conversation, but just kind of like, oh yeah, like a dinosaur movie, it's hard to sell this day and age for whatever reason. But on top of that, I think that one thing they're trying to do as far as the cast goes, I think they're trying to make one that's, because this movie really, you can kind of walk into this one without seeing a single Jurassic Park movie and kind of...
Oh yeah. And you'll totally get it. There's nothing that's like missing. It's not like there's big plot things that you had to see the other ones.
Mm-hmm. So I think maybe that's what they're trying to do, and maybe, I'm guessing. Everyone I know who's seen it seemed to like it, and I've heard it was like blowing up on Twitter for like 2 days. So I'm assuming that it's being well received. It'll probably make some money. So.
Yeah, well, as I said, the audience looked much more crowded than Avengers 2. Mm-hmm. I mean, for opening day, there was more people there for this movie than Avengers. So, and Mad Max. I mean, Mad Max is a little bit different because that's kind of like, I was more surprised at how many people were at Mad Max, because it's just saying that the movie franchise was kind of old. I mean, I'm happy because that movie's so awesome, but
I think Mad Max is like a little
Jurassic Park's still kind of like, I mean, the last Jurassic Park was only 2001, where the last Mad Max was 85.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Mad Max was just so that movie was getting such early praise. People were talking about how amazing it was, and you never see nothing like it. So, and that's one of those ones where I even had like a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes. So that says a lot there. I mean, I don't really take Rotten Tomatoes that seriously a lot of time, but when something like Mad Max has like 98 on there, that's definitely a genre movie like that. That's saying something.
That's true. But it is one of those ones, like in Jurassic World, they kind of do it first. You're kind of like, because almost as like an older like dinosaur fan, I feel with the guy with the mustache. I'm kind of like, I like my dinosaurs just being dinosaurs. You don't need to wow me with mutations, all that kind of stuff. That's what I want to see. And there is that kind of period in Jurassic World when I'm watching it where I'm like, I hope that it doesn't get too far into the mutations. Because I remember when Jurassic Park 3 kind of came out, they started selling all the toys were always like the mutation dinosaur.
Fusion.
I remember just going like, it's like, why do I want that? I'm like, I just want a regular T-Rex and a regular Velociraptor and Stegosaurus and Triceratops, Because keep it simple. You know, I just want, and there's a lot of dinosaurs to choose from. I mean, like, you know, there's so many different types out there. It's like you can go on forever just looking at those ones. You don't have to have these mutant dinosaurs. But I love how in this movie, it has in the movie itself almost, it comes back around to, no. The regular, your classic Velociraptor and T-Rex are still the top of the chain here. And I like that kind of, it's almost a message in itself. Because that's the one thing, it's like, if they make a Jurassic Park 5, I want to see them go to the other 2 fucking islands, and whatever, I just want to know what's on those islands. And 2, it would be nice if it kind of went to a more simpler almost. I mean, I think this one's great in its grand scale because you get to see the park fully activated and all that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't mind seeing it back where, like, you have just the, you know, regular dinosaurs. We're not trying to up the ante anymore. Because sometimes you can up the ante a bunch of times in a movie, but then almost when you pull back a bit, you know, once you get farther down the chain, it almost works. You generally can't pull back on the second movie, or the third one maybe, but mostly by the time you get a little bit farther into the series, that's when you can kind of come back.
I think that, oh shit, what was I saying with that? Where was I going? Give me one fuck, it's on tip of my tongue. Oh yeah, you can actually, you can see earlier, God, I'm just getting over this cold. You can see early versions of the original Jurassic Park 4 script in this movie, because originally they were talking about it being, they're trying to create like genetically engineered dinosaurs. Like, well, they already have that, but I mean like spliced dinosaurs and like dinosaur human hybrids, all that kind of shit. And they even
yeah, it was literally supposed to be Turok 2.
And they cut away from that because they hated the script and all that. And that's when they brought Michael Crichton in to help kind of like put it in the right direction. And that's when Michael Crichton died. So the thing.
So we brought Michael Crichton, and it almost just reminds you like he just passed over and died right there on the table, and then like he was pointing at something like
he just like wrote down a note like no dino humans or some shit like that. Fucking die here. Anyway, so
I will say, you know what's another thing about Jurassic World 2 that makes it kind of different than the other ones is the fact that the characters in it, though, they also have kind of a younger character appeal. Where, you know, all the other Jurassic Park movies, you're all watching guys that are at least over 40 years old, if not older.
Because everybody was kind of like, I mean, you had the girl, Sam Neill's girlfriend in the first one, and she wasn't like, she was like 30-ish. She was like 30-ish.
Yeah, Lord. Yeah, she was like in her 30s, and then, you know, but I think Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum had to be, you know, at least upper 40s. And by that point,
so it's kind of like, okay, so here's for the kids and the adults who are taking them. They all kind of had that. In the third one, you actually did have like, okay, here's a guy in his 20s, but it's still, he's probably not going to sell it as much as someone else. You know what I mean?
Well, even Lost World, you think about it, it's like, once again, it's a bunch of older guys in that, and then his daughter. Exactly. So once again, it's like you almost have the relatable kid for the kid characters, and then you have the adults.
The parents.
So maybe what they're thinking is, once again, going all the way back to what I was saying, that like Jurassic Park, the fan base is mostly people of our kind of about generation age range. So what do? They make a bunch of guys, like all the character, well, not all the characters, but a lot of the characters are in their late 20s, mid 30s. Fitting into the genre of the people that kind of grew up watching Jurassic Park. So that's who their like main character basis is. And then you still got your kid characters in there. And then you got your fucking teenager who's like hard to impress unless it's like some chick standing there like, hey. It's like, it's like, he's like, brother, there's a dinosaur over there eating. It's like, yeah, this chick's standing here. I can look down her shirt.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's hot. Did you have a girlfriend back home? No. Not fucking lame.
We're going in.
Looks down at his phone.
He's on fucking Tinder, just swiping left and right. Oh my god, there's a stegosaurus. Whatever.
Yeah, fuck it. Keep swiping. But that's always like, at least that guy does turn around though, so I will say that's at least good. And there is that one part where they're sitting there. I think it's when they go underwater finally to watch the fucking like giant crocodile dinosaur thing. Like eating, and he's finally going like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. But it's like by that point you're still like, dude, that's what. When like showing up on the island is like, what have you been here like 15 times already? Like, what is not impressive about?
Well, even like 30 minutes later, when they're back on the train, kind of like going through the little hamster ball thing, you still kind of like, okay, oh look, Jimmy Fallon's on little screen telling us what to do. Okay.
He's kind of funny. Just nothing really impresses this guy.
Yeah, until he's like almost faced with near death, you know. Even like that part when he's just like, "Mom and Dad are getting divorced." I know we already talked about it. Just kids like, "Get over it. You're getting divorced, you fucking pussy."
You're gonna get double presents anyways. He's like, I don't want double presents. Like, whatever. Well, no, the part made it really funny too. He's like, well, I don't care. I'm gonna be like at college in 2 years. You can fucking tough it out.
Fucking pussy.
I don't have to deal with it like you do.
Even like Judy Greer, who played the mom, and she had like 2 or 3 scenes. He's like, he could be so mean when he doesn't know what to say. I was just like, she said, I got the image of him just like later that night, he just shoving the kid in the corner, pussy. Like, he just cuts back to that.
It's just the only way I feel happiness.
Making someone smaller than me cry.
Oh, I was thinking of another character for a second, but then I totally spaced out.
Well, I was gonna say real quick, you said they're trying to like make it people more roughly around our age, like mid 20s to like late 30s. Watching this movie right here, I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, when you put it that way, I'm like, man, I'm like 20, I'm 28. And Chris Pratt, he's probably a little older than me, but he's already training raptors, man. He's already trained. What the fuck have I done with my life? You know, it's one of those things. Like, it's like when you read fucking Superman. Like, man, Superman had a job at the Daily Planet, was saving people by the time he was 24. What the fuck have I done? You know.
They used to like read Batman. You're like, man, by this point in life, Batman pretty much came back to Gotham and was becoming Batman almost.
Man,
he already went through all his years of training.
I gotta get my fucking priorities straight, man. This is some bullshit. I'll pick up like an Archie comic from like Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, man, Sonic was like fighting Robotnik at age 15. What have I done? I haven't taken down any giant like empires with my super speed that I was fucking born with.
But no, overall though, Jurassic World was just one of those movies. Like, we're really at that period where like these, like the fourth movies are doing really good. I mean, we get the fourth Mad Max and it's totally badass. We get the fourth Jurassic Park and it's totally badass. It's almost that time period where like we're getting these good sequels, which is nice to know about.
Well, for a while, we've said this before on the podcast, but for a while it was one of those things kind of like by the time you got to, because I'm not going to lie, I think we even said this right when it was coming out, like Fast and Furious 5, when you saw the trailer, like Fast and Furious 5, it's just like, or Fast and Furious 6, it was just like, just that sounds so fucking ridiculous. But you actually look at the trailer though, just the concept alone, Fast and Furious 6, they're still racing some fucking cars. It's like, it just sounds so silly. But then when you actually see the trailer, and it is silly, but it's a fun, entertaining movie. And that's kind of like when 7 came out, that was still entertaining. So now it's almost literally to this point. Maybe it's not the healthiest thing, but it's just kind of like, you know, you just keep on making them, throwing them out there. Eventually they figure out what to do.
Well, yeah, it's like I like Fast and Furious. I mean, my favorite one's still the first one. But other than that, though, I think they got better as they went on. You know, if you just start, so let's just say we start with number 2 and go from there, like they just almost progressively get better. And I think that 7th one, even though I've only seen it once, so I can't really totally judge, but I think that's almost might be my second favorite one.
Like, I like the first one.
Go figure.
I never saw the second one. Third one I thought was okay. And then we've kind of retapped this, like 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are all fun, good movies. So it's one of those things, as weird as it sounds, just wait it out long enough, you get like a... I don't know. It just seems like if you just keep going at it, I mean, if you keep going at it, eventually you're just going to get like, oh, well, they'll figure out the formula for it. And that's just kind of...
Well, I think there used to be that...
And that's just not that franchise. I'm just talking about a movie franchise in general. And Jurassic Park, this one took way longer than I assumed it would to come out. But now that it's actually out here, it actually did a really good job. And kind of go, yeah, you could go give them a little bit of a nostalgia ride. But you could also just a little bit of the old, a little bit of the new, and the right balance. Come out with a really good movie.
Yeah, it's just one of those ones. I just hope that this finally is what's going to be bringing dinosaurs back. I mean, I'm so happy to see so much like Jurassic Park merchandise out there. And it takes me back to being like in 1993 again, or 1997 once again. You know, I remember there were so many cool... When Lost World came out, because I think even the merchandise went even farther then. I had this sweet pair of dinosaur tennis shoes, like Jurassic Park ones. And you could get like the Jurassic Park cereal and the gummies and all just the little things. And I like that kind of stuff. I know that just seems like, slap a Jurassic Park logo on it and he'll fucking buy it, but...
in the words of Jeff Goldblum, like, You patented it, you printed it, you slapped it on a lunchbox, and there, he has that whole like anti like cloning like spiel he gives right there.
Yeah, where he's like the only guy that's with me is the blood-sucking lawyer. Thanks. But no, I hope that they can make a Jurassic Park 5 too. Why not? Some people are always so picky about they're like, oh, I don't want to see sequels because it puts a damper on the first one or so on. I'm like, you know what? You can never ruin the first one, no matter what you do. You can never, if sometimes you have those dud movies, but they never affect, the good ones.
Yeah.
It might as well. I don't have. Obviously, this one was freaking awesome. Why can't we do that once again? Put just bring back some of the other characters. That's about my only thing.
I guess go to another now because they got a large enough cast. You could do weird mashups, kind of like Chris Pratt, Sam Neill, and what
Vince Vaughn.
Make it a really weird mashup. It's almost kind of you don't know who you're gonna.
Billy's with
it's almost slots. You don't know who you're gonna get. It's
ding. Oh, looks like we got Chris Pratt,
Sam Neill, and Jeff Goldblum's daughter from the second one.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Then the next one, it's okay, who do we got? We got Billy,
Laura Dern,
and the engine hunter from the second one. Oh, this one we got an all-star team for this one. Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, and Chris Pratt.
Yeah, that's the super. That'd be a sweet one though, is just to have all those guys in.
That'd be the Avengers of Jurassic Park movies.
It really would be. It'd be who would not want to see that? But I would love to see a movie too where it's just Chris Pratt goes back to the island, or he goes back to the other islands that nobody ever talks about, and is.
I just got this idea. I'm actually I'm stealing from Kevin Smith here for a second, but what if they clone John Hammond? So the fourth one, it is Chris Pratt, Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill, and John Hammond. Oh, and Muldoon. Fuck it. Also, bring Muldoon back to life. Yeah, just clone Muldoon. Bring him back.
Yeah. It brings Samuel Jackson back. I like my concept of that he just lost his arm.
Yeah, he has history with he has history with Avengers type movies. Come on.
But you know what else would be another kind of cool thing to do is because now we're kind of getting to a point almost. We haven't really got there yet. They're more in the works of these types of movies. But is to having movies that really don't have to. They're not have to be a big Jurassic Park movie. You could have a smaller scale version one. A story that I always thought was kind of cool was in the Trespasser Jurassic Park video game on PC. It's more about a boat crashes and this girl wakes up on this island. It turns out to be Site B. Turns out to be the worst island you could probably wake up in the fucking ocean. But it almost that would be kind of a cool one to have, is just where somebody shipwrecks on. Let's have it be one of those other two islands. And they have to get off of it, and then maybe they're dealing with not only dinosaurs, but then they have to fight InGen as well too, and it's just this kind of race to escape. It's that classic, almost Dawn of the Dead type story where you're here trapped in this area, get to the helicopter and leave, or that's how Resident Evil is too. It's just you go through the mansion to get to the helicopter, but Jurassic Park does the same thing too. It's you go through the island to get to the helicopter. Mm-hmm. Even the second one does that, but the third one does it too. Even the fourth one does it. I guess that's always how Jurassic Park is. But
fourth one's we got to get to the boat.
Oh yeah, they get to a boat instead. But just something like that, where it's just you focus on one character and their interaction with the entire island. So it's almost more of a little bit more artsier, where you could have scenes where there's not nearly as much talking and so on, and just exploration and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But I feel we're in that age where we can make those kind of neat movies, or hopefully we're getting there. Just getting that fucking Boba Fett movie.
Everyone's trying to do universe now, because now they're trying to do Star Wars universe, they're doing Marvel universe, and granted that's both Disney. They're trying to do a Universal monster movie universe.
Yeah, I don't know if that's Dracula one was the first one. Did you see that movie yet?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty darn good.
But I know they're trying.
Not Van Helsing good, but it's pretty darn good.
I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I know that's one of the ones they're trying to do, and they for a little while they were trying to do. I mean, they backed out of it once Battleship tanked, and they realized how dumb that idea was. They're gonna do the Hasbro, where it's G.I. Joe, Transformers, Battleship, and I don't know whatever else, fucking Connect 4 or whatever.
Yeah,
they later.
Whatever else there is, but Huh. So there's a lot of hope for Jurassic Park. Well, that's probably a good place to leave off at. It's getting late and so on. And this is one of those movies I'm going to go see it at least one more time, because I've seen Jurassic Park 1 about 4 times by this point, but I've only seen, in theaters, but I've only seen 2 and 3. I only got to see them once in theaters. And sometimes you just don't ever get those second chances to see them. But this is one of those movies where it's like, I really want to make sure I at least see it one more time in theaters before it's gone. And maybe point it in that second glance, see what else there is. And then also, too, maybe I'll start up this Jurassic Park game and see what that's like. Give us a little bit something to talk about next episode.
Sounds good.
But till then, make sure to go to oldmanorange.com. Check out all the animations, extra podcasts, art, music, so on. Rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher. And you can follow me at Spencer S. Holmes at Twitter.
You can follow me at Dunigan Ryan on the Twitter.
And until then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
We'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.